So when we start, at the beginning of any action, there's the intention, the motivation why we do this. So it's good, you know, in your daily life, you go for a walk, you ask yourself why I'm going for a walk. You know? And then you eating food, you ask yourself why do I eat food? You go to sleep, you ask yourself why do I go to sleep? Any action you do, you check why I'm doing this. You know, and then you say, yeah, okay, I'm eating food, yeah, because normally, yeah, because I'm hungry. You know? So you come up with your normal way of, I'm going for a walk because I feel restless and it's good for my health to go for a walk. You know, I'm sleeping because I'm tired. You know? So you come up with your normal reason. You know why there's always a reason why we do something. You know? So you come up with your normal reason. And then you try to change your normal reason from something that is non-virtuous, you know. So if you sleep because you're tired, you know, so it's either then you attach to be awake, you know, to being. So you attach to sleep. So you go to sleep out of attachment. You're hungry, so you eat food out of attachment. You go for a walk because you feel restless and it's nice to go for a walk. So you go for a walk out of attachment, right? So all these actions are negative karma, right? So, but the same action you can transform. You see, you do the same thing, but you change the way you look at it, you know? So, you know, so you try to eat food without attachment, you know, just to sustain the body, just to be healthy. So that's the Hinayana way. And then the Mahayana way, you eat food out of love and compassion, because if you're in good health and have enough energy, you can benefit others. And then you offer the food to all the bugs that live in your body. You know, so it's an act of generosity. You know, so it's the same action of eating, but because you change the way you look at it, instead of being negative karma or neutral karma, it's positive karma, right? So you go for a walk because you need to go for a walk. You want to enjoy. You say, "May I walk towards enlightenment for the benefit of all beings?" You know. So in front of you, imagine the Buddha or Bodh Gaya or a stupa, and you're going on pilgrimage. You know, you're walking to. So each step brings you closer to enlightenment. It's positive karma. So it's the same action of going for a walk, but you transform it into something positive. You know, so that's how skillfully you can transform. You know, so you drive. You know, may I drive towards enlightenment? May I bring all sentient beings in the car with me and lead them to enlightenment? You know? So you're going to physically you go to work, but mentally you transform it, you know, into something positive. So that I think is very important to learn that skill, you know. And then at the end, you rejoice, you know, say, oh, I did, you know. So you went for a walk, you walk towards enlightenment for the sake of. Then you come home and you say, oh, I did this good action of walking towards enlightenment. Now I offer it to all living beings. So you dedicate. And the fact of dedicating to offering to all living beings, it makes it that it's not destroyed by anger. In the future, if you get upset or angry, normally it destroys all the positive karma that you have created. So anger is very negative, you know, it kind of shakes up the mind, except the things that you have offered to others. So that's why when you do a positive action, you offer it towards enlightenment and to whatever purpose. You know, if you have somebody that is sick, you know, you can offer for that person to be healed physically or mentally. You know, people which have problems, so you offer. You know, it's very good. So here, you know, so we're going to meditate, and why I'm going to meditate, you know, I don't know why I'm going to meditate. So, you know, I don't know. So let's turn it to something positive. So may this action of meditating lead me closer to have a clean mind, uh, you know, to understand better my mind, to have less negative emotion, and to have a, you know, may that lead me to have a good rebirth and gradually free myself from my mental affliction, and then lead me to enlightenment for the sake of all beings. So at the beginning, it's just meaningless words, you know. We just blah, blah, blah. We don't really mean it and we don't even know what it means, right? But gradually, you know, these things start having meaning, you know, and gradually make sense. So for that, so the next session of the text is about emptiness. So as a contributing conditions, we are going to read or chant together the Heart Sutra. So we have the text of the Heart Sutra. So we're going to chant it, and some part we chant quickly, some part we chant slowly, and some place we stop and we meditate. So I'll explain while we're doing it, okay? So this sutra was, for those which have been in India, there's a place called Rajgir near in Bihar. It's a Vulture's Peak mountain where the Buddha was sitting there with Avalokiteshvara and Shariputra. And then while he was in meditation, Shariputra and Avalokiteshvara were discussing. And that's how this sutra came about. Oh, I prostrate to the Arya Triple Gem. Thus did that here at one time the Bhagavan was dwelling on mass of Vulture's mountain in Rajagriha together with a great community of monks and a great community of Bodhisattvas. At that time, the Bhagavan was absorbed in the concentration of the categories of phenomena called profound perception. Also at that time, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara looked upon the very practice of the profound perfection of wisdom and beheld those five aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Then through the power of Buddhas, the Venerable Shariputra said this to the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara. How should any son of the lineage train who wishes to practice the activity, the profound perfection of wisdom? He said that then the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara said this to the Venerable Sharadvati Putra. Shariputra, any son of the lineage, daughter of the lineage, who wishes to practice the activities of the profound perfection of wisdom, should look upon it like this correctly and repeatedly, beholding those five aggregates also as empty of inherent nature. Form is empty. Emptiness is form. Emptiness is no other than form. Form is also no other than emptiness. In the same way, feelings. So feelings is actually our sensation, you know, that which is pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral. So this sensation that you have of your body on the cushion, sensation can be pleasant, unpleasant, and neutral. If you look, where is this sensation precisely? in the body, in the brain, in the nervous system, on the skin of the body, on the cushion. If you inquire precisely where this sensation is, you don't really find it, and it's like a space. And that space of non-finding sensation is actually the sensation. It's not separate from the sensation. Discrimination. So discrimination is also sometimes called discernment. So it's that part of your mind that says, this is this, this is that. This is René sitting in front, this is a table, this is the floor, this is red, this is yellow. So this is what's called discrimination or discernment. The intelligent part of your mind that distinguishes things. And that mental faculty is not self-existent. You cannot find it. It's there. But if you want to pinpoint where is this discernment or discrimination, you cannot find it as an objective thing. So it's empty of inherent existence, yet it exists. Compositional factors. The compositional factor are all your thoughts and emotions. So they appear to be solidly there, the thought is somewhere in your head, floating there. And the emotion, some are feeling in your head, some in your heart region, or sometimes they pervade your whole body. So if you look at a thought or an emotion that arises in your mind, where it is exactly, where does it exist from its own side or objectively? Where can I pinpoint it to be? It appears to be there, but when you look more closely, it's like the example of this water there. When you look closer, it's like a mirage, it disappears. When you drive on the road, it's very hot, this feeling of water on the asphalt in front. But the more you keep on driving and you never reach that pond-like experience there. So same thing, there appear to be these thoughts and emotions in your head, in your mind. But when you look closer, instead of becoming clearer where they are, it becomes more elusive, or it vanishes. and consciousness are empty. So consciousness, you have this experience of being aware. It's almost like there's a space that is staring at thought, at emotion, or through the sense door. Consciousness is staring at what you see in front, or what you hear, what you smell, what you taste, what you touch. So consciousness seems to be there, that thing that is aware, that watches, that is conscious of thought and emotion and so forth. It's almost like you could pinpoint your finger towards this is awareness, like that space that is clear, like the sky, and yet is aware. It knows, it apprehends. But if you're not satisfied with this mere appearance of the mind, you want to know where exactly it exists, what exactly it is. If you inquire, you don't find that mind or that awareness, consciousness, as something you can touch or something you can describe. So this is the emptiness of the mind, the non-finding of the mind. So Shantideva says, when you look with the mind at the mind and you don't find it, this is nirvana. Shariputra, likewise, all phenomena are emptiness, without characteristic, unproduced, unsustainless, not without stain, not deficient, not fulfilled. Shariputra, therefore in emptiness there is no form. Try to focus on the form of your body and try to see it's there. When you inquire, you don't find the body. And with each of the subsequent one, you do the same thing. You make first the phenomena appear, then you look into it, and you don't find it. And then you see how your mind becomes more and more free from all the concept that you have about all these things. The mind becomes spacious and relaxed. No feeling. no discrimination, no compositional factor, no consciousness, no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, no visual form, sound, no odor, no taste, no objects of touch, and no phenomenon. There is no mind element, and so on, and including no mind element, and no mental consciousness element. Then is the 12 links. There is no ignorance, no extinction of ignorance, and so on and up to and including no aging and death, and no extinction of aging and death. Then it's the Four Noble Truths. Similarly, there is no suffering, origination, cessation, and path. There is no exalted wisdom, no attainment, and also no non-attainment. Therefore, Shariputra, therefore, because there is no attainment, Bodhisattva rely on and dwell in the perfection of wisdom, the mind without obscuration and without fear. Having completely passed beyond error, they reach the end point of nirvana. All the Buddhas who dwell in the tree time also manifestly completely awaken to unsurpassed, perfect and complete enlightenment in reliance on the perfection of wisdom. For the mantra of the perfection of wisdom, the mantra of great knowledge, the unsurpassed mantra, the mantra equal to the unequal, the mantra that thoroughly pacifies all suffering, should be known as true since it is not false. The mantra of the perfection of wisdom is declared. So here we chant the mantra 3 times together. And then at the third repetition, when I say take a deep breath, so you take a deep breath, then you recite Soha, and then you let your mind expand on the wave of the sound Ha. And you expand your mind, you make your mind like space, and then you try to stare in that space without any thought for as long as possible. And then you look how within that space thoughts rise. So where in the space of your mind, where is the thought? So in the beginning there's just space, and then there's just thoughts. And then comes the I. Oh, these thoughts are not just thought, they are my thought. So first space, then thought, then me. And then me, oh, these are my thoughts. Well, some I like, some I don't. So, and then, oh, I like those, so let's cultivate. Oh, I don't like those thoughts, so let's. So that's how samsara starts, right? So first is just awareness, then the thought. But as long as there's just thought and no sense of I, that these are my thoughts, there's still no karma created. No? But then there's a sense of I arising with that. Oh, these are my thoughts. And because they're my thought, I can do something about it, you know? They're mine. And then there's those thoughts I like and those I don't. You know? So then is action. Then action arise. That's what we call karma. Is you as this illusory self react to illusory thought, sees them as real, see the sense of thought, and then we act. And that action is then karma, liking, disliking. You know, that's where we create karma. So try to see that, you know, in your mind. Anyway, we just play, right? We try. So we start 3 times, and at the third repetition, at some point I say, take a deep breath. Then you take a deep breath just before Soha. A deep breath and Soha. Deep breath. Buddha, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva should train in the profound perfection of wisdom like that. Then the Bodhisattva arose from that concentration and commented the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara saying, well said, son of the lineage, it is like that. It is like that one should practice the profound perfection of wisdom, just as you have indicated. Even the Tathagatas rejoice. The Bhagavan having thus spoken, the Venerable Sharadvati Putra, the Bodhisattva Mahasattva Arya Avalokiteshvara, and those surrounding in their entirety, along with the worlds of gods, human asuras, and Gandharvas, were overjoyed and highly praised as spoken by the Bhagavan. So you see, if we had calm abiding, a very stable mind, and then with the mind, if you look for the mind, you inquire where the mind is, and you don't find the mind, something changes in the way you perceive. Then when you have thoughts and emotion arising within the mind, you inquire where are they? What is their nature? What are they made of? Where does a thought come from? Where does it abide? Where does it go? What is its essence? And if you don't find thought, the emotion, you become free from them. They still arise, but they don't exist from their own side. You see, they lose the capacity to hook you, to grab you. Same thing if you look where the I is, in that space. There's no I anywhere you can find from his own side. Yet the I exists, yet we exist. Yet we reach liberation, yet we reach enlightenment. But there's no I to be found anywhere in your head or in your mind. The I that appears to exist from his own side there, that one is a hallucination, it doesn't exist. But there's someone that makes that experience. There's someone that makes the experience of not finding the I. And that someone is who you are. You are not the one that is in your head, that thinks, that likes and dislikes, that makes plans. That I, you cannot find. But there's someone that doesn't find it. And that someone is who you really are. And that someone you really are doesn't create karma. But the one in your head, the thinker, the doer, the liker, the disliker, that's the one that creates karma. And that one doesn't exist. Yet we believe it exists, we believe that's me. And we have all this longing and attraction, aversion, you know, based on this I that doesn't exist. And to realize that this I, with all his karmic baggage, all his emotional baggage, all these view baggage that I cannot find. And when you cannot find that I, all the emotional baggage, all the karmic baggage, all falls apart. Your whole personality with your habit, with your imprints, with your memory is all based on this I that doesn't exist. And when you realize that this I doesn't exist, you become straight free from all the karma, all the mental affliction, all the habits. Everything dissolves when you dissolve this I. And there is an awareness that experiences that freedom, that space, that awareness. That's who you are. That's what you have always been, what you will always be, even when you reach enlightenment. You see, the thing is that we never question. See, there's the body there, there's the thought, the emotion, sense of I, and we take it as a given that they exist simply because they appear. But if you question, where is the thought, where is the I, where is the body, where is the mind, where is the cup, where is the table, where is the floor, where is the house? You question like that and look into it and not finding it, liberation is very close. It's not far. It's simply asking those questions and not finding the inherent existence of things. And in that space is the freedom. But we're just lazy. The I tells us something in our head and we agree instead of questioning it. We simply agree. So for a person that has realized emptiness, there's still the appearance of the I in the head, but he doesn't believe in it. So you see, the fact that the I appear is not the problem. The problem arises when you agree with it. So you can have this thought in your head. Sometimes we have that experience. Our mind goes berserk and starts criticizing something or say something, but we don't believe. So, well, it's like a gramophone having or a tape recorder in your head. They are thoughts, but you don't agree with them. So at that moment, it's not you that has those thoughts, they are just thoughts in your head. You don't create any karma. When you say these thoughts are mine, I believe that, then you create karma. So to have the appearance of the I is not the problem. The problem is when you agree with that sense of I and you say that's me, I believe that's me, then that's when you create karma. So a yogini that has realized emptiness still has the appearance of the false I till enlightenment, but he doesn't agree with it. He doesn't say it's me, it's just the appearance. Because he has looked into it and hasn't found it. So he's completely convinced that the I that appears in the head is a hallucination, so he doesn't believe in it. And therefore he doesn't create karma. So we have that experience, you see. Sometimes they're just thought in your head. And they're not your thoughts, they're just thought in your mind. But then suddenly the I comes, these are my thoughts, I believe that, I think that. So that's where the problem starts. Do you understand what I'm talking about? Or it's you see, it's subtle and it's very simple in fact. You know, it's not like very complicated, it's just we're just familiarized so long to believe in this sense of I, that everything is solid. It's just the habit is so powerful that just a little bit watching and not finding is very weak compared to the force of habit. You know? So it takes really a lot of, how to say, familiarity with seeing how things are. But it's not that complicated. So the point is, why would you make the effort of doing that? Is that you have first to have this conviction, is that this ego grasping is the creator of all the problem. You know? It's because this is ego grasping, you know, these are my thought, my liking, my disliking, you know, and then I act upon this liking and disliking, and there I create karma. See, I'm motivated by attachment, aversion, craving, you know, there I act. And that's where karma is created. Before that, there's no karma. There's nothing that binds you. It's when you agree, then you're bound. So the problem is not with the thoughts, with the emotion, even with the sense of I, is with our attachment to these things, our holding them as true, solid. So that's why in the Heart Sutra it says, you know, to counter that habit of solidifying, you say, you know, there's no eye, no ear, no nose, no tongue, no body, no mind, you know, nothing, 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 you know, not finding, you know. So you could say, you know, sitting here, whatever comes to your mind, there's no car, there's no house, there's no cat, there's no dog, whichever object comes in your mind, you know, what's your, there's no job, there's no boss, there's no employees, there's no computer, there's no cell phone, there's no bed, there's no food, there's no kitchen, there's no bedroom, You know, whatever are the things in your world that you reify, you deconstruct that reification. You know, so here in the Heart Sutra, it uses the description of phenomena found in the Prajnaparamita. You know, it goes through a list of phenomena, but you could go to a list of your phenomena. What are your objects of your everyday life? What your hang-ups? You know, our object of attraction and aversion that we solidify. To use each object, whatever comes to your mind. There's no husband, no wife, no child, no parents, you know, and see what it does to your mind when you say that, you know, because part of me doesn't want that, you know. I have a real husband, I have a real kid, you know, he has problems, I have to take care. You know? I have real parents, you know, I have to call them. They get upset if I don't call. And I have a real job, and if I don't go, I get fired, you know. You know? So there's a reification, right, of the mind. So what happens to humans? There is no job, no, you know, no, right? Because yes, it exists on one level, but on another level you cannot find these things. And then not finding them actually does something to your mind. It can psychologically it frees you. No? So it's just an interesting exercise to do. So here we are on point 2. So this is the same, it says the same thing in different ways, you know. See all phenomena as dreamlike. They are not independent of mind or mental designation. So you see, if there is no mind, there is no phenomena. How to say? If there were no mind, see, if there's no mind, how can you say there's something? You can only see something because somebody sees it. If there were, you see, there's a watch there because there's an awareness that sees the watch, or a mind that sees the. If there's no mind, if there's no perceiver, there's no object being perceived. Right? So everything we perceive is dependent on the mind that perceives it. Whereas we think that the object exists there independent of the mind. We think that if I don't exist, the watch is still there. You know? We have this feeling if I die, the world is still there, even if I'm not there anymore. Even if I'm not aware of the world is still there. Right? That's our idea, right? But in reality, it's not like that. The world we experience, our mind collectively create this world. If our mind disappears, the world disappears. There's no objective world that exists independent of our mind. The whole world is created by our mind and our karma. If you stop existing, the world stops existing. So it depends on the mind, you know, on the awareness. So there's no object out there independent of the mind that perceives it, or of mental designation. See, for me, my feeling is that there is a watch there, independent of me calling it a watch. You know? But here, there's nothing that says, I am a watch. In some cartoon, it's like that. You know, I'm a watch. You know, Toy Story. You know, so the objects they have a personality, they have a mind. You know, but in reality, it's not like that. So here, there's nothing that is a watch. You know? If I don't designate it a watch, it's not a watch. Right? So it's a watch for me because I label it watch. It's not a watch independent for me labeling it a watch. We just collectively agreed to label it a watch. So for us collectively it works as a watch, but independent for our designating a watch is no watch. I think the easiest is with the alphabet, you know. So you have a letter like T, you know. So we all agree when we see T, everybody says, oh, it's a T. You know, we all agree it's T, right? But there's only two bars, a horizontal and a vertical, right? We all collectively agree to call this T, but there's no T at all. We just collectively agree to call this T, right? There's no T there, independent from our mind collectively agreeing to call it T. And then we use that T in words, you know, in all the letters like that, and we believe it's real. But it's not real if you don't label it T. And we all collectively agree. And the whole world is like that. We just collectively agree, you know, on these things. And it works, you know, but we don't realize how it actually works, how our mind, you know, impute labels. So everything, the I exists as a mere imputation, the body exists as a mere designation, the mind, the thought, everything exists but as mere name, mere designation. It doesn't exist objectively out there. Whereas we believe that the world exists out there, people exist out there as something concrete, solid. It's not like that. So that's what, you know, this meditation on emptiness makes us gradually aware how things actually exist. And I think the closest we have in the West is with quantum physics. You know, they touch to the same thing, that things are not solidly out there the way they appear. But there, in the ancient time, they didn't have, you know, particle accelerator and these kind of things, you know, to get to this experience. They had just the mind. And so with the mind, they got to the same experience, you know, by looking deeply into things cannot find. But that doesn't mean they don't exist. It's just they don't exist the way we think they exist. They still exist. So as long as the cause and condition are together, we still, you know, as long as the cause of condition of a watch is there, the person who thought about it, the people which build it, you know, and the mind that sees it, as long as the cause and condition come together, there will be a watch. So it's not like you meditate on emptiness of the watch and the watch disappeared, that the watch doesn't exist. It's not that. No? It's that the watch exists in a different way. It exists as a collection of all the people that thought about it, all the cause and condition that came into putting these things together, right? And then the mind perceiving this collection of parts, you know, and imputing it watch. So as long as those cause and condition are together, there will be a watch, but not a watch there independent from all these cause and condition. There's no independent watch. There's a dependent arising. So for example, you see, the thing is that innately we perceive things in a wrong way. But you can look, for example, there's a glass of water there. And if you don't think there's just a glass of water there, you don't see that somebody was in the kitchen, took an empty glass and put water in it and put it here. You know, you don't see that. You just see a glass of water as if it had innately being there all the time. The glass of water, you look at it, there's a glass of water there and it has always been there. So you don't see the cause and condition that brought it there. And you don't see the parts. You know, you don't see how a glass is made out of, how to say, silicon, you know, silicate of, you know, from sand, basically. You know, you heat it up, you know, and you add different current, then you know, you make it cold and it appears as a glass, and then the water. You know, we don't see the parts that makes it up. we just see a glass there that has always been there, and water in it that has always been there. And then you don't see that it's a mind that perceives the glass. You think that the glass is there without, it doesn't need the mind to see it. The glass is there on its own. So gradually you try to, you see that there's something wrong in seeing a glass that is always there. That actually it's more true to realize that this glass has not always been there, that it has a history, that it's a, how to say, the glass now exists in time, and before that there was a moment before, so an hour before this glass was somewhere else, and a week before it was somewhere else, and a year before it was somewhere else. So you can go back in time, and then you see the evolution of what made, from the person thinking about it, and then the factory that built it, and then the water coming from a lake or a river or glacier that came from the rain. Like Thich Nhat Hanh has this meditation, where he goes back in time with all the phenomena, and shows the evolution. That's how he meditates on emptiness. How the dependent arising, how whatever you see, you look, this piece of furniture appears to be there, yet it has a history. So if you look back, how it came about. So, and then something changed in the way you see things. And then you can also look into the future, right? So this glass now is full, but then it's going to be empty. And then, somebody's going to smash it sometimes, fall on the floor. And then you have these pieces, and then gradually these pieces become sand and disappear. So by looking already the dependent rising of cause and effect, it changes your way of seeing things. They become less solid, less, how to say, isolated. So you can do it in terms of cause and effect, in terms of time, or in terms of parts. And then you can see it in terms of how the mind on this different stage, impute it. So sometimes this phenomena in the past was impute sand. Then it was impute that material, that you've silicate. I don't remember how it is. I think you made glass out. It's as a salt, silicate of sodium or something like that, that you heat up, and then it turns into glass. So like that. So then it was silicon, then now it's a glass, and someday it's going to be something else. So the mind imputes, depending on how it appears, it imputes different things. It doesn't exist objectively as this and that. So this is the whole meditation on emptiness. It's like that. It's not really very complicated. It's just the mind is lazy. The mind just accepts whatever it sees. It doesn't look, how it arose. I think in certain fields people do that in their profession. In certain profession, you do something and then you know how it was done because you did it. You build that thing. And then you compare it to other people building the same thing. So you understand the cause and effect that brought this and that about. I think in different professions we have that understanding, that insight into one product, what our skill or things like that. But we don't apply them to other, to other things. But it's everything like that, and it gives you a deeper insight of how things is. Examine the ultimate nature of mind. So when you look at the mind, it appears almost like, for me, sometimes the mind feels like, I'm an awareness, and I look at my thought and emotion like fish in an aquarium. You know, I have this aquarium in front of me where you have golden fish and little bit bubbles coming up, and green leaves, you know, and then some pebble, different color. You know, that's how I watch my mind, you know, like I watch an aquarium. Then there's thoughts floating out, you know, jellyfish, you know, a little bit bubble water, you know, a little bit emotion, different color. You know, that's the aquarium of my mind. Right? Sometimes it appears to me as solid as that. You know? So there appear to be this mind there that is aware of, you know, the mind, you see, the thought, the emotion, the mental phenomena keep on changing, but the awareness is always there. You know, it seems that the awareness is unchanging. The awareness is staring at the thought, the emotion. You know? So the subject is always there. So the thought, emotion change, but the awareness of them doesn't change. You know, that's the mind. That space, that cognize is always there. And that's me. Hmm? And that almost like that space of awareness seems to be unchanging, is permanent. That's me. You know? But then, you see, if it would be permanent, it would be unchanging. And that would mean that you would be stuck with the same thought. You could never have another thought. You would be stuck forever because it's permanent, it's unchanging. So you would always have that thought. You couldn't change. For the object to change, the awareness has to change. You see? The subject has to change in order the object to be different. What it perceives has to be different. This has also to change. Otherwise, it would be unchangeable. The object it would perceive will always be the same. So you can infer that your mind is a stream of moment of awareness, right? So in the Theravada tradition, they say in a snap of a finger, there's 64 moments of awareness. In the Madhyamika, they say there's 360. So this has 360 moments of awareness. So the mind is a stream of moment of awareness, constantly changing. But now, okay, so that's conventionally the mind, the stream of moment of awareness that perceives the thought and, the things moving from a little bit like in the old day you had projector and the movie, passing in front and projected onto the screen, right? So it appears that the light is always the same, but actually it's a stream of photon, that are projected onto things and appear there, right? It's something completely in movement, right? So same thing with the mind. So, but it's not how I perceive my mind. I perceive my mind as this space that is aware. But if I look, where is this space that is aware? The space that is aware cannot be a previous moment of mind because that one is dead, is finished. It cannot be a future moment of mind because it's not yet here. So my mind can only be the present moment of mind. Okay? But the present moment of mind is what? 1 minute of mind? 1 second of mind? 1 millisecond of mind? How long is a present moment of mind? And the present of moment of mind has always a part that touches the past and touches the future, so you can split it. You can split the present moment of mind ad infinitum, and you don't find the present moment of mind. Right? So there's no objective present moment of mind, and if there's no present moment of mind, how can you speak of a stream? Right? So you cannot find the mind objectively. Right? And this non-finding of this objective mind, that's what we call liberation. The person that has calm abiding and can do that can experience this state of freedom where you realize there's no mind, there's no body, nothing is found there. And that's liberation. Then you come out of that experience, things appear to you again, but you don't believe in them. Because you know it's just like a dream, like a hallucination. It's superficial. It appears superficial, but it has no essence. If you look into it, you cannot find them as something solid. So it's very important to make this inquiry. Nagarjuna says, even doubting that things exist, break the foundation of cyclic existence. Even doubting that things solidly exist is very powerful. The mind. Because innately we believe things are there. There is the mind, there's the body, there's other people, everything is there, objectively the way it appears, and we don't question that. And it's because we don't question it, we're stuck. As soon as you start putting a question mark, but where it is exactly, and then it's not finding it, can make things slowly unravel. Understand that this ultimate nature is also empty of inherent existence. So you see, there are people which look at the mind and see it as a stream, and they say, okay, the past moment has gone, the future is not yet here, so the present moment exists. But this present moment can also be split and ad infinitum, so I don't find the mind. Right? But this not finding of the mind really exists. Right? So they solidify this non-finding of the mind. Right? So what he said, so even this non-finding of the mind you cannot find. Right? So this is to prevent the objectification of this non-finding. So some people, they find emptiness and think emptiness is the ultimate truth. Emptiness really exists. All the rest doesn't exist, but emptiness exists. But emptiness doesn't exist either. Emptiness is just what you find when you look for things and then don't find them. But the emptiness depends on having looked for phenomena. If you weren't looking for the phenomena, you don't find the emptiness. So emptiness depends on the phenomena. Emptiness doesn't exist independent from the phenomena. Emptiness is just how phenomena ultimately exist, right? But it's not a thing. It's just when you look at things and you don't find them, that's emptiness. But that emptiness depends on the phenomena you were looking for. I finish this online. Also, allow the mind to abide in the experience of space like emptiness. Right? So you go there, you look for the mind, and you don't find the mind, then you absorb your consciousness in that awareness, in that experience of not finding the mind, not finding the body, not finding the I, whatever it was. So you go into that space and you rest there. Your mind becomes like space, and a space that is a special space. Like say, you have the sky. Sky is a space, right? But that space can be obscured by thoughts arising within it. Rain, different things can obscure the space. So same thing, the mind, our mind, you look at your mind, that space can be obstructed or by thought, emotion, mental image, anything can happen in the space of your mind, right? But the space of emptiness is different. It's like you are looking for something and you don't find anything. So that space is a non-finding. And in that non-finding, nothing can arise. Because everything that arises, you don't find. Nothing can arise objectively as a thing. You simply, everything that arises is a non-findable. So it appears like a dream, like a rainbow, like a magician creation. It appears, but it's not, you know, it's not real. And because for you it is not real, there's no attachment, no craving, no reaction, you know, it's just dance of life, you know. Yeah, you were saying.
Okay, so finding means that also find it.
Yes, yes.
And the observer.
Mm-hmm.
My question is,
Yeah, so Shantideva, there's an objection somebody says, you know, so how to say, if the mind doesn't find the emptiness of the mind, then you would have to meditate on the emptiness of the mind that sees emptiness, right? So, but then the mind that meditates on the emptiness of the observer, you know, that one also should be empty. So like that ad infinitum, you would have an infinite regression, right? So that's what one person object, right? So if the mind doesn't find the mind, what about the mind that was looking, right? So then you would have to meditate on the emptiness of this one, right? But then you would have to meditate on the emptiness of this one and this one, you know, like that ad infinitum, you would have this infinite regression. So Shantideva says, no, you don't need that. Because when the mind doesn't find the mind, actually you at the same time understand that the mind that was looking is also empty, right? So it has that thing that when the mind doesn't find the mind, you understand at the same time that the mind that was looking is also empty. A good point, yeah.
that's emptiness. Once I get into this,
Yes.
and then
Yeah.
I really get so confused.
Yeah.
I'm just like, okay,
Yeah.
maybe I'll just get out of this
Yeah.
because it's
Yeah.
too. So how can you think about everything empty, but because it's empty.
So usually you start with one phenomena, right? But then they said the emptiness of one is the emptiness of all. So like you didn't find the inherent existence of one thing, at the same time you don't find the inherent existence of whatever else you look into it, and you stop there, right? So you just stay in this non-finding, but that non-finding is not a thing. It depended on the phenomena that you were looking for. So the emptiness is not an absolute, a thing that exists independent from the phenomena. It's just the ultimate nature of the phenomena, which is inseparable from the conventional existence. So you have not an emptiness without a phenomena. You can speak of the emptiness of the body only because there's a body that exists. If there's no body, there's no emptiness of the body, right? And the emptiness of the body doesn't exist independently from the body, right? It's just another aspect of the body, is its emptiness. But what it does, you see, we believe there's a body there you can pinpoint to, right? So then when you find the emptiness of the body, when the body reappears, it appears to you like a ghost. It's still there, but you know there's nothing you can hold on to. So it eliminates this reification, this solidification. You know? Because the problem we have with the world, with our thing, is not that the world exists, people exist. The problem is not with the appearance, is with our reification of the appearance. You know, we see things too solid in a way that they don't exist. The world exists, people exist, but not in this solid way. And the problem is not with the appearance, is with our holding it as solid.
Is the appearance outside of realized or really recognize.
Yeah, you can. Yes.
Things really do appear solid. It's not just the way.
It starts by not believing it, right? Not finding it. So you have two tricks, you know. Things exist as RENÉ, merely label, or they are not there, or they are like a dream. Like so, you use different trick, you know, to in your everyday life, you know, when you walk around. So it's like in a dream, you know. I'm dreaming this. It's just a dream. It's like it's there, but at any moment I can wake up and it can disappear. And the disappearing is seeing the emptiness of it. Right? So you go around, you go for. I like to do that when I walk. I go for a walk. I'm walking in a dream. You know, like my last night dream. You know, now I'm dreaming this. It's kind of lucid dream. So everything is made out of mind stuff instead of made out of matter. It's made out of my mind stuff, right? It's the mind, the substance of the ground I walk on is like walking on clouds, right? So sometimes you almost have feeling, oh, the foot is going to pass through the ground. It appears so light. And that's how yogis are able to walk in the sky or on water, you know, because they have this conception. You see, walking on water is easy. You just need to see it as solid, and then you can walk on water. If you can walk, because it's just made out of mind. So if your mind sees it as solid, you can walk on water. It's possible. No, yogis can do that. It's not difficult. You need single point of concentration, and then you need to have that, to see that way. You know, that's how so yogis can transmute element. You know, the element. You can see the water as fire, and for you it's fire. You know? Or you can see the water as space, and you breathe it. The yogis they do that. So it's not even that advanced. You know, it doesn't even need high realization. You know, it's not reaching nirvana. It's way before that you can do this kind of thing. It's just elements. You know, how understand how the element depend on the mind.
So with the way to see phenomena is that
Things exist in this. A Buddha see emptiness and dependent arising simultaneously. An ordinary person can only see either the side of emptiness, if he has realized emptiness, or the side of appearance, right? And for us, all the side of appearance appear to be solid, inherently existent. So a yogi, because he sees the emptiness, even though things appear to him as solid, he doesn't believe in it, right?
Here's my question. When we try that we can, I guess specifically I'm thinking that so that we can actually not create more because we're still in this body, we still are restricted in some way. We haven't realized emptiness, but somehow train the mind for all phenomena that can help.
So you see, if I have this beautiful piece of chocolate here, right? And there's real chocolate there. Desire for the chocolate can arise, right? But if I realize the emptiness of the chocolate, and I know the chocolate is a mere appearance to my mind, it's not real chocolate there. There's no desire, right? I can have desire only as long as I believe there's chocolate there, right? But once I realize that there's no chocolate there, desire cannot arise. That's how the mental afflictions stop. The same thing, you have a problem with someone, somebody makes you upset, So as long as you believe that that person is there and makes you upset, the emotion of upsetness will arise. But if you realize the emptiness of the person that makes you upset, upsetness cannot arise anymore, right? And that's for any mental affliction. They arise because we believe this situation and these things are out there. But once you see, you inquire and you don't find, the mind becomes free from this emotion. And because the mind is free of this emotion, doesn't create any more karma. Right? So that's how it works, So the more you have insight into emptiness, you see, it's not like one day you get upset or one day you have desire and the next day it's not like, oh, I realize emptiness, now I eliminate jealousy. Tomorrow I meditate on emptiness, I eliminate attachment. Next day I meditate on emptiness, I remove aversion. It's not like that. More you go into the emptiness. So first, the gross anger, the gross attachment, the gross obsession, the gross jealousy disappear. So what is done each time you go, they become weaker. So you still have attachment, but they're less strong than before. You still have jealousy, but they're less strong than before. How to say, they are less strong and they last less long. So gradually you remove them by layer. Till they don't appear anymore, because the ground for them to appear, the belief that things solidly are there, has disappeared. So this emotion doesn't arise anymore. Even if you try to get upset, you cannot. Even if you try to have desire, you cannot, because it needs a base for it to arise. That these emotions to arise, it needs something there. And if you don't believe things are there, these emotions cannot arise, and you're free. You can still enjoy chocolate, but you don't have attachment or desire for it. No? That's why you can put a meal to Lama Zopa Rinpoche in front of him and have a warm cup of tea. He has no desire for it. An hour later, the food, the meal is cold, the tea is cold, and it's still there. So then people go to warm it up and put it back there, and it keeps on talking, and it becomes cold again. Yes, because no attachment, no desire. So, there's no this relationship that we have to things. So, for example, we were in the south of France, in the retreat Lama Zopa Rinpoche. It was freezing cold at night, So we were all bundled up, and half the people were sneezing and coughing, taking all this medicine. And Lama Zopa Rinpoche was sitting there, and he was wearing like that, and I had 3 layers of bundled up. So he was sitting like that, and his robe is like that. And then he talks and talks, and it falls down, and then like that. And we are bundled up, and just like he doesn't feel the cold at all. And then his attendant, the monk, comes and bundles him up, and Rinpoche says, "What are you doing?" And then it falls down again. And for him, there's no difference at all whether he has clothes on or not. He doesn't feel hot and cold, no attraction, aversion, no attraction to feeling warm, and no aversion of feeling cold. It's not there for him. Whereas I'm very attached. So just by this simple see, you see the difference of the mind. Very, very easy to see. So his attachment to food and drink, attachment to warm and cold, attachment to be awake or sleep, all the things he doesn't have. So it's interesting to be in the presence of somebody like that, because it just shows you all your hang-ups, how much I'm attached to feeling warm or being, things like that, and, food and drinks and things like that. He doesn't have. So the teacup's cold. So then the attendant comes, please drink, please drink. Yeah. And then it's cold, so they go and bring another cup of tea that is warm, And they said, please drink. No, you know, whereas me, oh, 1 cup of tea. Very different, you know.
So let's say he would touch fire, and in his mind, like it's not burning fire, would he actually not get hurt physically? Because in his mind,
Yeah.
yeah.
You wouldn't feel. You wouldn't feel. Yeah. Some yogis they put the hand in the fire,
Yeah.
and it has no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he also wouldn't starve because he's not eating.
Right. So there's other, you know, ordinary people need gross food, but yogis they don't need gross food. There's what's called the food of concentration, or you can take the food of the elements. So, for example, a friend of ours, some people know Geshe Lama Konchok. So he stayed, I think, 3-4 years, not eating and not drinking. He took the element out of the element space. There's a meditation where you can take the nutrition out of the element space, and then there's some practice where you take it out of the essence of flower. You know, you take flower petals and you make small peels out of it, and then you eat a few of those a day. You know, with some meditation. And so the yogis, you know, because they live in the mountain, they don't have food around, so they just, you know, they take out the essence of the elements. Yeah. So for us, you know, these solid walls, we cannot pass through it. You know, Kadrola, one of our teachers, she walks through the wall. You know? So,
one moment she's there and then she isn't.
So she lives in a monastery in Dharamsala, and at night, because it's a monastery and she's a lay woman, so they lock her up at night. And one morning they found her outside her room. The room is locked up, and she sits outside like that, you know. And then the monk opened the door and just put her back in, you know, like that. So there are people, you know, for us, this appears like fairy tale, you know. But once you learn a little bit about it, you start knowing how things work. You see, there's a possibility. And we still have living people which have those experiences. You know, Geshe Lama Konchok, some of us have met him, and Kadrola, some people have met her. You know? So there are yogis and yoginis around still. You know, and it's really, how to say, a life-shattering experience to be in the presence of these people, because you realize the rules by which you abide, they don't apply to them. No? For me, it was the first shock I had. This was with Lama Zopa Rinpoche at the Kopan course. You know, you do the November course, and in those days he would speak sometimes 8-9 hours, you know, in a row. You know, he would come up 4 o'clock in the evening, and at 4 o'clock in the morning he was still there talking. And everybody was collapsing, falling asleep, and going out to pee, and you know. And he was there. 4 o'clock. Oh, we have to stop, I guess. You know. So you see the rules by which your body mind works, by the rules that govern your body mind, doesn't apply to him. You know. Like, you know, people bring tea, bring this, and it doesn't, you know, just if it's not there, you know, it doesn't pay. It's very interesting to have that experience once in a while, you know, to be in the presence of this kind of person, because it's hard to say. Even if they wouldn't say anything, just being in the presence, you see that the rules that apply to yourself don't apply to them. In the Hindu tradition, they call this the darshan. You know, a darshan is, you would go to see a yogi, and he wouldn't necessarily say anything. You would just sit with him, you know, and just being in that space, you know, something changed to your mind, and because you see that, you know. So I remember there was a sage called Ramana Maharshi. I don't know whether you heard of him, you know. So before being Buddhist, I used to read his books. His one famous book was called Who Am I? So he lived in Tiruvannamalai, in the South India. So when he was a teenager, he decided life has no meaning. He wanted to die. So he lay on he went in a cave and lied on a rock. You know? And I want to die. And was waiting death. He said, my life has no meaning. I want to die. And then instead of dying, he reached enlightenment. You know, or some kind of awakening. You know. And then he went to live in a cave a few miles away. There's a Anurashal mountain range, and he stayed there in a cave for about 20-30 years. You know, and then he was a teenager, right? He left home, he went to live in this cave. And then people start, you know, the shepherd with their goats or their sheep, you know, would pass around, and they saw that guy there, you know, living there without eating, without drinking, and just being there, you know, and stayed there for 20-30 years. And then after some time, they invite him to the village. He never talked. He just sat there. Then they invite him to the village. They build a little room for him, and he sat there. So he had this, you know, in India, you have this wooden bed, you know, that is made out of, you know, these cords that go, you have this 4 pillar and the frame and this thing. And he was sitting on his bed, and, you know, sometimes he was like that, sometimes he was laying, sometimes he was sitting. He never talked. He was just sitting on his bed, and people would go to see him sitting on his bed. That was the darshan. So people would go to watch that guy sitting on the bed. He never talked, you know. But yet, so people would come into his presence, and it's like going to a different dimension in different space. You know, people would go there, and suddenly they realize where are their thoughts, where are their problems? Just by being in his presence, the thought, the problem, everything disappeared. Amazing, yeah. And then they come out, and slowly their ego, their whole things come back. So they go back, you know, the next day or the next week. Let's go to sit with that guy. It's kind of fun, you know. My problem disappear. And then at the end of his life, so Westerners start hearing about it. So the Westerner came, and they nagged him to say something, you know. So reluctantly, he started having exchange with his student, and that's how the book came about. Who am I? You know. So it's, yeah. So I mean, there are yogis, you know, in the Hindu tradition, in the Buddhist tradition, very interesting guys. So in the Hindu tradition, there's a whole set of teachers that don't teach. They just are. You know, they are this experience and carried by their presence. I think. And nowadays, if you go to, that's the meaning a little bit of pilgrimage. You know, you go to holy places. There's some, because some of these masters lived there. There's something that is left there in that energy. That place has that energy. So you go there, and something changed to your mind just by being there. You know, so there's, you know, many holy places like that. And I think there are some also in the West. You know. I mean, I remember in Switzerland I went to the Beatus Höhle or Saint Nicolas de Fleur, Saint Nicolas von Fleur. So there's a few places in Switzerland which have some kind. And you see that as high spiritual beings has lived here. Or if you go to, you know, San Francisco d'Assisi, in Assisi, or in Lourdes. You know, you go in the great underground. So you see there's an energy there where your mind changes just by being there. It's interesting. Interesting. And in the India, Nepal, there are many such places where you go, and just by being there, all your problems disappear. Of course, not permanently. You know, but while you're there, you know, you have all these problems. You know, your husband left you, your children is behaving very badly, your parents are a problem, you lost your job, and you have this health problem, you know, you're in this mess, you know. Then you go there and you enter that space, and you sit there, and all these problems vanish, and you're there smiling, you know. You know, everything is fine. you know. So it's like the heavy weight of this problem disappear and say, why do I worry about all these things? You know, it disappear. Then of course you come out and gradually they come back, you know. But it's just, it shows you that something, you know, in a certain awakened state of mind, all these problems are not there. Okay, we make break. Tea break.
I see that you have tea. Would you like some black tea or some herbs tea or some coffee? Or something?